Well, and we all love our families dearly.
Right.
But if you're a Baltimore Raven with a wife and kids at home, 4 little ones running around, and you get a week off in a hotel room, you're never more comfortable than in a hotel room.
The amount of sleep that you actually would get.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I hate buying tickets. I've been playing my whole life, never had to worry about buying tickets. The ticket part is stressful. The game's stressful. The ticket part's really stressful. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. And with the Game Time app, it's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. If I'm trying to see the monster trucks for my kids or Willie Nelson for me and my kids, I can find it all in the Game Time app. Game Time's the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has the deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code GREENLIGHT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code GREENLIGHT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
The Delaware River. Hello. Alrighty, so it's their words, not mine. A skeleton crew in the studio today. We've got Corporate Scott, who hasn't been on a green light mic in months.
Ages.
And producer Nolan, the man with the plan, also here. Who's not here? Chris Long, Cowboy Reed, Kingston, Aiden, others. Cast of Thousands is a cast of 3, but this is going to be one hell of a show for a variety of reasons. We have our NFL preview, which is just going to be outstanding. Maybe a bit of a roller coaster. There's not going to be any C long. Now, what I predict, let's get into the pumpkin of it all. I predict that you all are going to have trouble piecemealing this show together because Chris is going to demand that he give a voice memo update in length anywhere between 7 and 18 minutes to put at the beginning of the show. So this might all be for naught. But at the moment, we are getting reports from the Delaware River where Chris is trying to set a world record of floating in a pumpkin down a river, that there are trials, tribulations.
Adversity.
There's some adversity.
Yes.
Now, I was once told by Coach Tony Bennett that adversity, if you learn to use it right, can buy you a ticket to a place you couldn't have gotten to any other way.
Pressure is a privilege.
So this very well could result in a world record. I sent the group a USA Today story. The world record was just broken 2 days ago. So I think 38 miles got pushed to 39 miles. So this cat in the middle of the U.S. might have a world record for 2 or 3 days if Chris can make this happen. But what we're hearing is I think 21 miles are in the can as of about 8 a.m. Time of tape, about 11:30 a.m. East Coast. Chris is on the river. It is cold. He is, I think, kneeling in a 1,000-pound pumpkin. And it's all just very strange. I had to try to explain this to normal, upstanding people yesterday.
Right.
When
difficult conversation.
Oh, it's a very, very difficult conversation that I'm not going to recount here. But hey, my only fear is Chris himself, because he tends not to be denied in situations like this.
Right. Don't you want that in a world record attempt?
For sure.
To an extent.
Is death on the table? Is loss of limb on the table?
Yeah, I sure hope not.
I think that's where Cowboy Reed and Matt come in.
They're voices of reason, but are they willing to speak up when it's like, hey man, stop? Because Chris can't be deterred.
Right.
It'll be interesting. So
I think they would have to attack the pumpkin, to be honest.
Yeah. By now,
Inside
listening to
job.
this, you likely already know the result. I would hope. I hope he's not still on the river. The report we're getting more often than any other is that the river's just not moving. The thing is, we're in Stillwater, Oklahoma, essentially, with this river. What state are we in? New Jersey?
It depends where you are on the river. I think it's Jersey or Pennsylvania, but the Delaware River does split the two states. So yeah,
You would think Delaware, but
no.
no.
Not the
Okay,
case.
so Godspeed to Chris. Again, you probably know the result by now. You may be hearing from Chris on this show. I don't know. Are we going to have a Thursday night time machine? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've submitted a pick. Haven't heard from Chris. A lot of unknowns. This feels kind of like what it must have been like before phones.
I will say that, this whole pumpkin situation, I've been here for a year now.
Yeah.
This was one of the first things I heard about. I was like, okay. And then I decided, when I was hearing about this and hearing the conviction, it was real. There was no questioning the fact that it was real. So if we're going to do it, we might as well do it. Let's get this thing going. Let's get some people who might know what they're talking about involved with said planning. UVA, shout out to the UVA engineering squad. A lot of them, I think, cross over with the concrete canoe club of UVA. You can float a concrete canoe. You could probably float a pumpkin.
Yeah.
That's kind of the reasoning there.
I've
So
got
there was
nipples, Fokker.
yeah, right. There's a lot of resources and a lot of brain power that's gone to this, and seemingly it's working. It's just a matter, and I will say he's probably double the size of anybody who's attempted this, which I think is a challenge in and of itself. With the pumpkin, and then the fact that you have to get down a river that doesn't move as fast as the current record holders. I believe they had it in the Missouri River, which
Missouri's a racetrack.
It's moving at a good clip.
Right.
Chris is really smart. He's really successful. I'm not kidding when I say that I've kind of zoned out on this whole pumpkin talk until now. Now I'm dialed into it.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to
Would
see
you
how
say
it works out.
they made it personal?
Yeah. They made it personal, I'd say, late Wednesday when they said, hey, Friday show is yours. No Chris, no Stanford Steve. I reached back out to Stanford Steve. I said, hey, Steve, can you give me 30 minutes? And he obliged, which I'm grateful for. But actually, I guess I took it most personally when I was told, hey, it's you and Steve. And then Steve said, yeah, I'm out. So that's when I
just Macon. Then
that's when
not
I
gonna
Jordan meme took it personally.
Yeah.
All right. So stay tuned. See long. It may already be in this pod. I need to talk to you all about something. I dropped a kid off at school this morning.
Yeah.
My own. And on the way out, I drove by the school's tennis courts, and fellas, there were 7 or 8 tennis balls left on the courts from the day before, strewn about. Now, you never, ever leave a tennis court messy. You pick up after yourself. It must look pristine. These kids have resurfaced courts, brand new windscreens, and they're leaving balls out on the courts when they're done playing. And I don't know what the future looks like, but I know it's bleak. It probably looks like a tennis court with balls strewn all over it. And I'm fired up about this. This isn't a clay court that should be swept and lined after it's played. It's a hard court. All you got to do is pick up the balls. Have a little respect. Have a little respect for those that came before you. I might write a letter to the athletic director to say just how irritated I am. And it's not about me, but it is. Because I played on those courts. I paved the way for these kids. I gave blood, sweat, and tears to those courts. And then I cleaned up the blood, sweat, and tears when I was done. You understand? So they're disrespecting me, others, the game, the courts for sure. And the bottom line is you leave the court better than you found it. And I'm after all those words, I'm at a loss for words.
You're upset. You're upset. My first thought, if I'm being very honest here, is you have young children.
Yeah.
Didn't know elementary schools or preschools had tennis courts.
All right.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
That's where I need to clear it up.
Yeah.
K through 12, preschool through 12
Got
school. These are going to be kids with some sense, you would think. These are high school age kids.
At least parents with sense.
Parents with sense. These are young adults at the youngest, and it bothered me, and actually it got me thinking about the kids who play baseball at this school who are known for just having that thing look like Augusta National.
Yeah.
I mean, they're raking that dirt after every practice. Like you take pride in the baseball field when you're a baseball player.
So where's the disconnect? Is this a coaching issue? Is this a
I don't know.
a parent issue?
That's why I'm going to write a letter.
Yeah.
I would be worried about the state of the tennis program.
Yeah.
In school.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, red light, the future of the world, the future of this country, of our world, our kids.
Did it bother you enough after you dropped off your child to go and pick up the balls and just like parumphing the whole time as you picked them up?
No. Instead, I left I did like 3 voice memos that I sent to friends. I'm like, you're not going to believe this.
Oh, yeah.
Fatback Backy nearly lost his mind when he heard it.
Yeah, I could
Said-
see that.
He said, I have every right to be upset. And he went on and
He's all about the fundamentals.
used some choice language. But yeah, Backy's coaching football over there this year. He knows the drill. So
He may have to walk into the little march into the AD office saying that the tennis program is ruining the reputation of the athletics in the school.
and they need to take a page out of the kids playing baseball. Scott, I was I think when I was at my lowest yesterday after being told that the show was all mine and we had no guests, was you said, hey, we could talk baseball.
A mere suggestion, national pastime happening, playoffs, a lot of excitement. Yes.
I like to be up on every single sport.
Mm-hmm.
There was playoff baseball happening that I didn't know had begun.
Right.
So I guess where do we stand now? The headline for me that's gotten to me is that the O's, with a wonderful regular season, I believe, got swept technically for the first time all season. I don't think they had lost. I don't think that they had been swept in the regular season. Then they lose 3 to Texas. What's with our best of whatever? By the way, too, are we still single wild card and then bet to a best of 5 and then best of 7?
It goes best of 3 now. So they I think it was last year was the first time they moved it to a 3-game set rather than a 1-game wild card, which I'm a fan of for the most part because I don't think baseball is meant to be decided in 1 game unless you've played, the rest of the series and it comes down to a game 5 or a game 7. Understand that that's the 1-game scenario, but it's not meant for a 1 game. That said, I believe the track record is the team who wins the first game of a 3-game set has won every single time. So essentially over in that first game anyway. But yeah, the Orioles got swept. The AL East did not win 1 playoff game, which is interesting. And as you guys know, I've been a Yankee fan for my whole life. So I'm sitting here. To be very honest, I'm not watching this like thoroughly. I turn it on, I glance, I'm watching here and there, but it's been good. I know a lot of people that listen to the show are probably very interested and dedicated to the Philly, the Phillies, the Philadelphia Phillies.
Bryce, mean mugging, rounding second, mean mugging.
Yeah.
Our
Oh,
guy
staring
11.
them down. There were some comments made, I believe, in the clubhouse, right?
Yeah, RC had some choice words
yeah.
about Harper and a base running error the previous game, and Harper let him know he heard him.
Oh, yeah, the big stare down. And Bryce is really getting into the whole Philly scene, really embracing it, just talking about how much he loves it. So I'm sure if you're a Phillies fan, you are just eating that up. And the guy he went 3-run dong, 1 solo shot. They put it on them last night, and they have now a 2-1 series lead in the in the NLDS, and the other all the other teams are set. So the ALCS is set. It's a battle for the state of Texas.
The freaking Astros, man.
The Astros 7th ALCS, which makes me want to throw up thinking about this or talking about it.
Yeah.
7th in a row ALCS, and they're gonna be playing the Texas Rangers, which are playing really well right now. And then on the other side, the surprise I think of the season are the Arizona Diamondbacks coming out and sweeping the Dodgers.
The Doyers.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the Dodgers continue their postseason. Wah wah. Kershaw gets lit up again.
All right. Well, let's join the green light faithful and rooting on the Phils. Phils D-backs. If that happens, that's fun. And then you just root for one of those teams to get the Stros or the Rangers.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely pulling for the Rangers. It's against everything I believe in to root for the Houston Astros.
Bruce Bochy, like your big buff uncle, just always around,
He's there.
looking buff.
It's funny because you look at who the managers are across now, and you see in the AL, you got Dusty Baker versus Bruce Bochy. Where did all the young analytics guys go? Where are they?
Yeah.
Where are the nerds?
Banging on their drums.
Got a lot of old school baseball guys who are, taking care of the sport, getting the most out of their guys. Probably using some analytics, listening to some of the nerds that are talking to them, and using that information to make decisions. But a lot of grit, a lot of old school grit in those guys, which I appreciate.
Hey, that's talking baseball, all right?
Okay.
For the first time this year, and we'll probably do it once more when we're in a World Series clinching ball game. Okie doke. In honor of Chris, in honor of the float, instead of a layup line, instead of my inserting some country pop into the mix and creating more work for you all, just do a moment of silence in lieu of a layup line right now. And that was our moment of silence. And it works both ways, because if Chris does perish on the river, that's for Chris right there. We're not going to forget him anytime soon. And in the event he makes it, that was our layup line. I will say this right now. You might put it in later. My Thursday night time machine, just so I'm on record: Chiefs 31, Broncos 16. And now it's our turn to talk about the NFL slate. Week 6, yeah? We're on to week 6.
Week 6.
Happens quickly. We need to tear it up. And I think it only makes sense, an idea brought about by Corporate Scott, that we do vessels. We do water vessels, ships, boats, things that can hold persons, things, etc., on bodies of water.
Buoyancy,
key.
Yeah.
I like a big ship. I love a container ship.
Okay.
I really like a big old super yacht. I like an aircraft carrier. They literally hold aircraft. You see these things?
Oh yeah.
They fly and land and take off. It's dynamite. Spoiler alert: pumpkin probably at the bottom of my list.
Well, that's why it's such a difficult world record, right? It's a not something you think of as a vessel to get from point A to point D in water.
Yeah.
So yeah, are you like that guy? I'm sure this is a category of people maybe that get extremely excited, maybe overly excited for trains as they go by.
Oh, a train runs through my backyard, so I've become a train person. The kids run to the window, they say choo choo. Yeah, I like trains now.
Okay, I was more referring to, are you that type with a big ship? If you see a container ship, if you go to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, are you hanging out?
Hell yeah,
before
man.
you go through the tunnel to see the ship?
We'll go to the north end of Virginia Beach, and you see the ships coming in and out. Yeah, fired up. Oh yeah. Hey guys, come to the window. You got 45 minutes to see this ship.
Yeah.
Hurry.
I'll tell you a quick thing I saw from the north end of Virginia Beach, actually, was that the vessel that went up during COVID up to New York, seeing that thing going by was a sight. That was crazy.
Yeah. And then your mid-tier, I think, is your kayak. I like a kayak better than a canoe. more control, fewer people. I think it's a good way to get around. It's not you're not going anywhere fast, but it's a good time. Give me some boats, give me some ships, give me some containers.
I wanted to throw out for the middle tier a tugboat.
A tugboat.
There's functionality to the tugboat, just like there's functionality to these middle tier games.
Blue collar.
Wow.
Maybe not excited to watch them.
Wow.
But they fulfill a purpose.
Okay.
And if you think about a tugboat, what does it do? It pushes and pulls, maneuvers other boats. It's kind of like an offensive or a defensive lineman of boats. And you got a lot of great trench matchups here in the middle tier. So
Damn.
going with a tugboat.
Nolan, dynamite. Bring in the goods.
This is maybe a little chalky, but I like having a drink or two.
Yeah.
Good place to do that. Pontoon boat.
Mm.
Those are they're you know what you're doing when you go on that. You're not going to be memed, like that one meme in the speedboat where everybody gets tossed around.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting into. There's an oversized cooler on it. There's room to move around. Yet you're out on the water. It's like a floating dock.
Yeah.
You're hanging out, having a good time. There's a tone set for a pontoon boat.
Okay. Really good ideas there, fellas. We'll kick it off with the aircraft carrier of games.
Beautiful.
And it'll be Monday night. The Cowboys are at the Chargers. Chargers were on a bye last week. Cowboys got beat pretty bad by the Niners. Cowboys are favored by 2.5 on the road. Technically, the stadium will be full of Cowboys fans. Total's 50.5. This is the Kellen Moore game. We talked about Cowboys-Niners coming down to Dak making big-time throws, and he did not. Well, he did. They were just interceptions, and there were 3 of them. But these Chargers rank 26 against the pass. So, question being, is this a get-right game for Dallas? I think it's a really hard game to pick from a gambling perspective because you never know what you're going to get from the Chargers, and the Cowboys are a wounded animal at the moment coming off the San Francisco game.
Do you give the Dallas Cowboys a leg up on the defensive side, which you could say is running by Micah Parsons? Do you give them a leg up understanding the scheme well, understanding Kellen Moore? Like you said, Kellen Moore game, I think he brings a different animal to the Chargers offense now.
Yeah,
a lot of plays, fast. They're probably at the top of the league, right, with the amount of plays that they're coming in. That's what he has been known for in Dallas. But is that something that the Dallas can slow down because it's what they've been going up against in practice for years?
I'm sure nobody's more fired up than Dan Quinn coming off a bad loss, and now you're going against the guy you've seen in practice for a couple years, Boy Wonder. I think it goes both ways though. Kellen Moore's going to be ready to show them stuff they haven't seen before. So
he's gonna be fired up.
It's a tough one to handicap in my opinion. If you're seeing this one clearly, more power to you. But lines under field goal, going to be a great one on Monday night. A little palate cleanser from Raiders Packers, which while competitive was not super high quality football.
It was not. It was low quality football, I'd say. That was a tough one to watch. Austin Eckler also sharing that he's 99% chance that he's playing back, that he's going to be playing in this game, which I think is a big deal because the guys that have been running out in his absence have not been doing it. I know for a fact because I picked them up on my fantasy team. Not doing well.
Yeah,
screwed me for 2 weeks.
And you look at the news on the injury front on the other side of the ball with Van Der Esch.
out.
It's a defense in Dallas. It's already it has a soft spot in its interior, so that's certainly something I think the Chargers will look to exploit.
Yeah, big day for Keenan Allen, perhaps.
No question. Yeah,
No Mike
you look
Williams.
at young Duran Bland. He's performed well in relief of the injured Trevon Diggs, but still a young guy. So we'll see how he can do against Keenan.
All right, next game, Seahawks at Bengals. You just heard me take Cincy with Steve. The more I look at it, I think that's a square pick. Bengals are favored by 2.5. Seattle's going to be able to run the ball with Kenneth Walker. Charles Cross is back. And then on the other side, you got Witherspoon and Woolen to match up against Jamar Chase and whoever, Tyler Boyd maybe. And they're also getting after the passer, Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So is Seattle just good? They're 3-1, coming off a bye. I was expecting this to be Geno Smith takes a step back. Looks like who we thought Geno Smith was
Jets
in
Geno.
his entire career. Little Jets Geno. And they're a middling team. Maybe they're just good.
Seattle is good. I mean, especially being 3-1, you look at what they've been dealing with up front too, through these first 4 games, through the first stretch of the season here. Being without Charles Cross, being without Abraham Lucas, they're 2 bookends up front, 2 very good young tackles. It's been impressive to see the offensive output, and I think specific to this game, as you mentioned, Charles Cross being back, it's going to be big for that run game. The Bengals have bled some yardage this year on the ground, and so if Seattle can get Walker, if they can get Charbonnet going, it also helps you keep Joe Burrow off the field, as he looked promising last week.
Oh, he's back. It looks like Joe Burrow's back, and again, Deion made everything personal for everybody. I feel like, so there's a lot of very personal games that are happening, a lot of personal things that are happening on the field, and I think Burrow is that. You said, talking about the Seattle secondary, Jamar Chase, 7-11, always open.
Yeah.
Those guys feel like they have certainly turned that corner. And it does look like that offense is very much back to what we expected it to be. Sans injury with Burrow. So Kenneth Walker, huge pivotal person in this player in this game, in my opinion.
I know Bijan's the new hotness, but I love that Kenneth Walker, man. I love watching him play. But yeah, before the season, this line is probably Bengals 4.5. But because Joe struggled with that injury and they haven't looked so good, it's under field goals. Yeah, if the Bengals are the AFC champ, Bengals, then it's a pretty good value. But Seattle may just be rock solid across the board, and Cincy's a square pick that I potentially just made. All right, look at us rolling. Who's not entertained here? Ravens, Titans in London. The total is 40.5. The spread is 4 points. I think it's too many points. I think it's just like last week. I think it's like Ravens Steelers. Titans aren't a division foe, but they may as well be with how they go about things. They like to run the ball, even though they're not doing so as effectively this year, and they're a pain in the ass to play on defense. So who knows? What the most interesting part of this for me is 2 very different itineraries. The Ravens left Monday morning for London. The Titans left Thursday night.
Yep.
If it's me, I prefer the earlier departure, provided you can get a HQ in London where you're practicing, you're looking at film, you're getting treatment, all that good stuff. Don't you want to get acclimated and the travel over with as quickly as possible?
And don't underestimate the fact that Lamar is talking about getting recognized in London. He's surprised. He's excited about this. This is an opportunity for him to expand his brand across the pond and show a true Lamar game. I think he's going to be extremely motivated, and I agree. I think if you're, rest is important when you're playing sports. Having a well-rested team is a good thing, and I think a little motivation with some new fans potentially, you could see some Lamar fireworks.
Well, and we all love our families dearly.
Right.
But if you're a Baltimore Raven with a wife and kids at home, 4 little ones running around, and you get a week off in a hotel room, you're never more comfortable than in a hotel room.
The amount of sleep that you actually would get.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So edge to Baltimore there, but Titans 9th in run defense this year, 23rd in pass defense. We'll see if Lamar can test them on that front. 4 points.
Yeah.
Too many points?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tighter. And I think what it'll come down to is there's going to be a great matchup in the slot. You're going to have the young Zay Flowers, exciting young playmaker, versus Roger McCreary in Tennessee. He's a very good slot defender. So, as Scott talked about, Lamar, they're going to need to get that passing game going with the strength of the Tennessee front. So I think kind of the way that matchup goes and how getting Zay going opens things up for the rest of the offense will be kind of a key factor here.
A lot of drop balls last week too, right? Zay Flowers does have something to prove, I think, in that, rookie coming in after dropping balls like he did. Some of them are just inexcusable drops too, on a new stage. Like, he's got something to prove. He's got to make sure that he's the guy, because he is, next to the tight end, he's developing into that guy for Lamar. So a lot of motivation.
No question about it. Lions are at the Bucks. This is going to be an outstanding game, I do think, in part because Tampa Bay's wearing the creamsicles, which is very good. Lions are favored by a field goal. Total is 43.5. This is not unlike Seattle. Detroit is probably just a really good football team.
Yeah.
But this is a spot. This is a tough spot. Steve called it a stinky line. They're in Tampa Bay against a really good defense and against Baker, who's been playing well. You can't ignore it. Detroit just beat Carolina by a lot while banged up. The sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, is probably going to go Sunday, but not definite just yet. And Tampa Bay coming off a bye. I would imagine Tampa Bay, the blueprint's going to be heat up Goff.
Yep.
When he has time, he's good, and when he doesn't, he's not as good.
Yeah, and I think if you're a fan of trench warfare, this is your kind of game. You look at the matchups on both sides of the ball. Tampa Bay, great rushing defense, 6th in the league. Matching up with a very good offensive line in Detroit. And then on the flip side of that, Detroit's pass rush kind of flying under the radar as leading the league in total pressures generated through 5 weeks. It's a good pass rush group. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, a major part of that.
Our guy,
Aiden Hutchinson. But on the other side of that, Tampa Bay, another underrated group. That offensive line has protected Baker really well. Ranking second in the league in total pressures allowed thus far. So
their run game, though, right? On the other side of their job is to grade for those running backs, and that's not happening right now, which I think is going to be a tough. If Baker is out there to keep up with this Detroit offense, I think it's going to be a very tall task. You got Detroit also came back last week, Jameson Williams, right? The deep threat over the top. So I think you're going to see him get more into the game flow. It was kind of a little bit of I don't know if it was a snap count last week, or you see him getting acclimated in there. So especially if St. Brown's in, like, they got weapons everywhere, and I expect Goff to be throwing the ball quickly, getting it off, and Montgomery's coming off, probably one of his better games. Doesn't look like Gibbs is going, but they have enough firepower, man. They're a fun offensive group to watch, and I can't believe I'm saying that when Jared Goff is the quarterback, but it's true, I think.
Mike Evans didn't practice Wednesday. This just came across the wire. Mike Evans will not practice Thursday. So that's concerning.
Yeah.
If you're Tampa Bay.
especially coming off the bye.
Yeah. As much as the pontoon makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I want it to be the tugboat tier.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, tugboat tier.
No, it makes sense. When he said it, I knew that was the answer, because it's blue collar. It is.
There's some alliteration. Nolan really thought it out, and it makes a ton of sense.
He's doubling down with the trench warfare talk. You know what I'm saying? It's like tough pill to swallow there if you're the pontoon guy.
We had a young Deron Bland. Who else will you have young? Somebody else was just young too. Is there a young Roger McCreary? I don't know. I love it when you have the young descriptor.
Just shouting out the young lads out there.
Yeah.
Or young sailors.
Especially given your age, for instance, with these dinosaurs in the room. All right, leading off the tugboat tier, Niners at Browns. I think if you have a healthy Deshaun Watson, it's in the upper tier, but we're likely seeing P.J. Walker and or DTR in this one, squaring off against the best team in football. The Niners are rolling. They are coming mostly east and playing at 1 o'clock. And coming down off of a Sunday Night Football high where they dominated Dallas, but they're just so good. Mm-hmm. So can the Cleveland defense put up enough resistance to keep them within a score in the fourth quarter is my question.
Yeah, and that's their only hope. The concern, I think, going into it is you pull up the Ravens tape against the Browns from week 4, I believe. And what the Ravens did so well, the way they schemed the run to basically use the Browns' aggression against them. 49ers run scheme, very similar to those kinds of concepts. So I think they're going to have an advantage there in the run game. And, obviously on the other side of the ball, it's, Ken Sanfran, protect Brock Purdy, another great matchup in the trenches. It's a Cleveland front with a lot of really good rushers.
It's everybody's favorite question this week. Would quarterback X be excelling in San Francisco like Brock Purdy is?
Yeah.
I think the answer is no. We got to give the man his flowers.
Yeah. He's playing well, and Shanahan knows how to scheme up for personnel as well. Like he's playing to all of his strengths. They keep talking about how fast he processes. He processes faster than I've seen anybody on the field in such a long time. And if they're with the zone scheme and the run game that Shanahan can devise against this Cleveland team, look, I think that this is an obvious one just because the 49ers are too good. I do. And when you have someone not named Deshaun Watson playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, you're in a very difficult spot. By the way, Nick Chubb also, they're two star offensive players are not playing in this game. And Chubb obviously out for the season, but it's a really tall task for them to even stay in this game, I think.
Line opened at Browns +1. It's now up to Browns +7. So somewhere along the week, you might have gotten some good value at 4 points, 4.5 points, but
it's a big swing.
It's climbing. It's climbing, and everybody said, but Brock's going to come back down to earth and have the bad Brock game. Well, I mean, Brady had bad games. Not quarterbacks aren't going to play well every single week. So I don't think it's, hey, we're waiting for Brock to fail like he inevitably will. It's just that, he's not going to be really good every single week, and Cleveland's defense is really good. So there's a path for Cleveland.
I will say one thing that is interesting to me about this game, and Nolan, tell me your thoughts on here. But Brock Purdy has so many options around the line of scrimmage, with Debo, lining up in different places, with obviously CMC, with Kittle. He's just got so many really good options around the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for much to unfold. So if the strength is coming after him, he's got a lot of options. And Shanahan, again, one of the best to scheme up that type of offense, I think.
And his favorite target is Ayuk, who is always the fourth one mentioned.
Which is crazy.
After
it's true.
Devo.
The number one receiver on most teams.
It's Devo, McCaffrey, Kittle, and then Ayuk's the forgotten one who Brock looks to the most, and he's excellent.
Yep.
All right, Eagles are at the Jets. Eagles are favored by a touchdown. Eagles are 5-0. It doesn't look like last year so much. Obviously, they lost both coordinators, but you can't argue with 5-0. Corbett Scott's the resident Jets fan. Jets are coming off a win in Denver. You had to have it.
Mm-hmm. That was a gift. +3. That was a gift in Denver.
The Zach Wilson experience rolls on. Are you delusional? You know that
I'm not delusional.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been a Jets fan for a long time.
I feel like we're all rooting for Zach after seeing him on Hard Knocks, getting a closer look at the guy, and you just don't want anybody to fail, and especially a guy in this situation where he gets a second chance. Yeah, go out and win ball games, but he's just not that good. I don't think.
To his credit, he's better. He's gotten better. He has, and I think week by week you're seeing much better stuff. Even last week when I think it was a 3rd and 4 to Conklin, setting up for them that they needed to continue to move the clock, and then he inevitably threw the interception. That's the other shoe to drop as Jets fan. You're just waiting for that to happen. The Conklin throw is like, oh my God, he made a throw, and it looked good. Mm-hmm. And when he's decisive, when he gets the ball out quickly,
doesn't happen a lot,
but he does throw a good ball when that happens. So I think the big thing here, one, I'm scared to death of this game. I think there's a good chance that we get completely wiped out of the building. It's very possible, but Hack's going to have to really scheme up some quick stuff because
Hack, I like it.
Yeah, there's going to be there's going to be a lot of pressure. He doesn't do that well. He doesn't handle that well, and it's going to be tough sledding. I think in the run game too with the defensive line for the Eagles.
Every time Zach drops back, I hear there's a voice in my head. It's Scott screaming, "Throw the ball!
Yeah,
throw the ball!"
It's pretty consistent.
And I think the Eagles pass rush. They're looking at this tape. They're going to be licking their chops now. If, as you're saying, Scott, if they can scheme some quick stuff, I think a key matchup here, we were talking about this earlier, is getting those Jets tight ends going.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a spot in the Eagles defense that they're still figuring out, we think they'll be buyers at the trade deadline. It's those LBs. It's the safety position opposite Reed Blankenship that a Conklin and a Zoma can get some matchups and kind of steadily move the chains.
They're going to need to do that. The offensive line was shifted 3 weeks ago. They have the kid they drafted, Joe Tippmann from Wisconsin, who was drafted as a center playing right guard. You have Vera Tucker now, who tore his Achilles, is out at right tackle. Max Mitchell was the 22 pick for them, didn't play all that great. So you have Becton, who started at attack, is on the other side doing well, but it's a tough ask for them to go against this defensive line that's extremely talented. So yeah, they're gonna have to scheme up. And look, I think that if you're seeing some positive stuff from Zach Wilson, that there's a sleeper connection, and I think it's with Tyler Conklin. I think there's some chemistry there. There's a little bit of a connection, and he's going to have to work the middle of the field and do it quickly with their tight ends. They've spent a lot of money on tight ends, and they just drafted one, local kid, Ruckert from, I believe it's Hofstra, Long Island. And they're going to have to get those guys involved. They're going to have to.
Wayne Corbett. Shout
Wayne
out.
Corbett, yes.
Hofstra. NFC top 5. Niners, Eagles, Lions, still Cowboys, Seahawks. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. Seahawks 4th.
Okay.
I think after that performance last week, you look at the Cowboys roster, talent all over the place, but it's kind of the same conversation you had about all these Vikings teams, in the past however many years, where you look around, oh my gosh, they got these pass catchers, these rushers, but it's the quarterback who's setting the ceiling. And I think you just feel better about Geno's ability to play clean football in the big moments. Sure, have we seen him in playoff spots yet? No. But I really like the Seahawks team.
2 years ago, 3 years ago, pick your years ago, we didn't think we'd be putting Geno and Jared Goff above Dak Prescott. Not their teams, just the quarterbacks, period. Elevating those teams above Dak.
What do they both have right now? They have an extremely, extremely solid run game, which allows them to use the play action, which both of those guys excel at. Geno, if there was one thing that you saw a glimmer of hope when he was in New York, and I didn't pay attention to him playing with the Giants at all much, but the play action was there. Like, he can throw a good ball. It's a matter of him getting that time, and they both have extremely strong run game, so it's helpful.
Maybe the only danger for Philly here is a look ahead. It is the Jets on the road at MetLife. You're probably locked in. You got a perfect season rolling.
Yeah.
But next week, you host the Dolphins on Sunday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be awesome. And you're in the Kelly Greens. So a bit of a look ahead, which is maybe why the line isn't ticking above a touchdown. All right, tugboat tier rolls along. The Saints of the 34-0 win over the Pats last week are at the Texans. Saints are favored by 1.5. Texans lost to the Falcons. They were in it. They had chances. They led late. Younghoe Koo won at the end. This is, again, a tough one to handicap if you're asking me. One I stared at for a long time. I think I was on both sides of it for several minutes. I'm in this pick 5 pool. You pick 5 games a week against the spread, any 5 you like. Pick from the slate. And I just have to go to bed at a reasonable hour these days, or else I'm
next day is just
toast.
3 days.
I still have the 2-year-old wake me up twice a night.
Yeah.
So, but on Wednesday nights, I'm agonizing over these damn picks, which I'm just, there's very little on the line, and yet it's one of the most important things to me in my life. Through 25 games this year, I'm 12-13, and I'm disappointed. Last year, about a 60% clip, up near the top. So a lot of ball left to be played, but I spend a long time. I guess it's process of elimination. I try to stay away from the games that should be stayaways, and this seems, from a gambling perspective, like a stay away, just because you don't know exactly what you're getting from either of these. I defer to you guys. Saints and Texans.
I don't know what New Orleans is. I know that with Kamara back, they probably have a much more clear identity with him just because he is a difference maker. And I think he showed that last week. And by the way, I love hearing when you talk about a New England shutout. It just makes me happy. It's a little smile on my face. Like I've conceded. I understand there's no rivalry. There hasn't been in a long time with the Jets and the Pats. But I do like hearing them struggle. New Orleans is confusing to me. I don't know what they are yet. I think they need more time to identify what they are. And Houston is, seemingly building that identity with their young guys and strong play.
They are so young. So I don't think you know what you're getting from week to week. They can look great one week, not so great the next.
Yeah, and I think a big kind of an X factor player for the Saints defense in this one will be getting Marcus May back in the back end from the suspension. You look at what the Falcons did to kind of slow CJ Stroud last week. They have veterans in the back end and Bates and Richie Grant, and they did really well, just kind of giving them different looks. He still moved the ball well, but once they got into the red zone, it was where the Texans offense slowed down. They couldn't get TDs. So having May back is big to go with Matthew and Marshawn Lattimore in the back end. I agree. This is a gambling don't touch.
The Minshew-led Colts are at the Jaguars. Jaguars favored by 4. Steve took the Jags. Who are the Jags? The Texans punked them by 20 in Jacksonville, and then the Jags go to London for 2 games. They beat the Falcons by 16. They beat the vaunted Bills last week. And, a lot of people said a no-doubter division champ are the Jags, and they may compete to play some games at home in the playoffs. And then you get off to the 1-2 start, and you don't know. Now they look like they're rounding into form. And they tend to beat the Colts, especially in Jacksonville. What's the path here for Indianapolis to make this exciting?
Yeah, I think for Indy, it's just going to be, look, you got Jonathan Taylor signed up again last week. Obviously, losing Anthony Richardson to the injury is going to be out for a little while on IR. It's going to take away kind of the explosive element of that offense. So it's just going to be force feed JT. They already run the ball really well. Ranked 7th in the league in rushing offense. So, you add a blue chip player like JT to the mix. They're going to have to slow the game down, keep Trevor Lawrence and Ridley and Ingram, all those guys off the field if they want to have a shot.
Right, because they can't really get to Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
When they're on defense.
No, not much production from the rush group thus far.
How you feeling these days as Jim Irsay when you see Zach Moss peel off, 100 plus, and you just signed?
Well, the ink is still drying.
I'm just saying, yeah, exactly. It's like it's one of those things. Like he's looking around, see, this guy can play too. But you're right. If they have to unleash Taylor. I think that run game is rolling. They have it going. So you add a guy like Taylor into that mix, you would think that it's only going to be that much more dynamic and allow them to control the clock. But Steve's right. I think that Jacksonville is playing their best football right now. It seems like Lawrence is, let's not forget that Calvin Ridley is a new guy into that team, right? They need to develop that chemistry. They need to figure things out. I wouldn't say that the impact with him has been there as of yet. You see, obviously, the connections with the other guys that they have brought in and Lawrence, but I'm waiting for them to really unleash Ridley. But it does seem like they're getting very close to that, and their run game has been solid.
ETN's making people miss.
Yeah,
Cam Robinson's back. But yeah, Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram is who he was supposed to be out of Ole Miss. It's it's JV San Francisco over there with weapons at every level. All right, Jags probably pretty safe pick by old Stanford Steve. Washington is at Atlanta. Atlanta's favored by 2.5. The Commanders coming off a dreadful performance on Thursday night against the Bears. Seems to be a pretty good bounce back spot for them. Sam Howell, somehow, those two name and word sound the same. They're homonyms. Has been sacked more than Daniel Jones this season. So you fix that. They're healthy. You have Jahan Dotson. You have Terry McLaurin. Logan Thomas is running around out there. I I like Washington a lot in this game. I think Atlanta's another Jekyll and Hyde team. You just zig and zag from the week prior, and you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick, especially because obviously you mentioned the pass protection being an issue and how kind of holding on to the ball. The Atlanta pass rush is still trying to find its footing. They have the talent there, Dupree, Onyemata, Calais Campbell, but the production hasn't been there yet. And so, I think that they'll have some time to kind of get that passing game going. And then on the other end, it's going to be interesting with Ritter trying to continue that momentum he built last week, keep the play action game going. That's a kind of a kind of concept that Washington struggles to defend. So, it will be an interesting matchup to kind of see how these quarterbacks are able to duel it out.
I view football on Sundays usually through the eyes of a sad Jets fan, just waiting for the next thing to happen, and then also through my fantasy teams, because I've been playing fantasy for a long time. I enjoy it, and Sam Howell was the guy I picked up last week. I had a bye week. His first half was a tale of two halves, I think, for him. But in that second half, you started to see that Bieniemy offense and him getting the ball out quick and really using his weapons. He seemed like a different guy, like really much more comfortable. So I'm interested to see how that offense continues to go, because like you said, they have playmakers. They have guys who can catch the ball. And, if they get Antonio Gibson going at some point, known for his pass catching, they haven't really utilized it as much. Brian Robinson runs as hard as anyone. I'm interested to see how that offense continues to evolve, and if they're able to build momentum off of what they did in the second half of last week, I think that Atlanta's in for a tough time. And you're right, like Ritter, I don't know. He's like Jordan Love to me. I don't know what they are. I just don't know what they are. You see flashes, but I don't know what they are.
Are there 25 teams in your fantasy league?
There are 12 teams in my fantasy league.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sam Howell. Are you starting two quarterbacks?
No, but for whatever reason, I don't know. Bye weeks were early. I don't know. There was not much there. There was not much there.
Okay. What's your record?
In that one, I lost last week, actually, not because of Sam Howell. Yeah, but my first loss of the year, 4-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Little qualifier right there. That's what that was, wasn't it?
The Minnesota Vikings are at the Chicago Bears. Vikes favored by 2.5. Totals 44.5. The headline is the Vikings are without Justin Jefferson. He's on IR with a hammy, which is obviously at least 4 weeks. And the other headline could be that it might not matter because it's the Chicago Bears pass defense. Now you get the Justin Fields last Thursday night. Awesome. We'll have a good game on our hands. Vegas clearly anticipates a good game. Addison's probably Addison. Maybe Osborne's the guy to step up and fill that JJ role.
He is playing the X. I think they talked about him playing the X, so he will fill that position.
And then can Justin and DJ Moore replicate what they just did? I mean, hard to replicate. That was something to behold. But that's what we thought was going to happen starting week 1. Fields was going to sit in the pocket. When the pocket breaks down, he can do damage to defenses. But DJ Moore was that one that he had been missing thus far in his career. And last week he was the one we thought we were going to see all along.
Yeah, and there are going to be opportunities there for Justin Fields to kind of use that ability he has to extend plays. The Minnesota defense, Brian Flores, he's as blitz happy as they come. Blitz Jalen Hurts on 53.1% of his dropbacks in week 2. So we should expect him to come after Fields and try to make it hard on him to find more as well as he was able to a week ago.
I could see that screen game working for them. DJ Moore's a yak guy, right? He's the guy, and last week we saw it on full display. I mean, I feel like he's been hidden from us in Carolina for such a long time. The fact that Fields is able to going back 2 weeks now, start finding him more and really let him, show his talent. He's got the ability to make guys miss, similar to like a Deebo Samuel, I think is a comp that I have in that skill set. So, if he doesn't have much time, I would like to see them get creative with that screen game and keep it going. But they're cruising, and Minnesota, again, speaking from the two areas that I look at this, I want them to keep losing because
You
Kirk
want-
Cousins
you
might
want
be
Kirk?
available. Yeah,
You want Captain Kirk?
yeah. As much
Okay.
as I will support my guy who's currently there at the helm, Kirk Cousins is better.
Bears are running the ball a little bit, but looks like it'll be Roshan Johnson, not Khalil Herbert this week.
Yeah.
I want to shout out the Bears for this new logo. They've made the secondary logo their primary logo, the forward-facing bear with mouth agape. I think it's an excellent logo, and I'm cool with they're keeping the C on the helmets, but it's just a good-looking orange and blue bear, and was probably a decision that did not come lightly in a group of people taking a chance. And kudos to you all.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that you like that. I think that when I think of your taste, understanding the Bevel Conways and such, you like the tradition of things. You know, hearing about the tennis balls on the court. You like the tradition of things.
I do.
They look good.
I think this bear's been around a while. I think this bear head has been around a while. They weren't willing to make it the primary.
He's been elevated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you put your cursor over a bunch of logos. You're looking for the C. It's like, where are the Bears?
Yeah.
Hiding in plain sight with that big old beautiful bear head. All right, hey, just three guys talking ball. All right,
That's it.
what more could you ask for here? Rolling right along. Cardinals are at the Rams. Rams are laying 7 points. Total's 48.5. Matt Stafford not only has Puka Nacua, he has the original Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Kupp's back. Philly seemed to figure that out in the second half a little bit.
They did. They made sure that Slay, Bradbury were shadowing Cooper Kupp everywhere.
The two
he went.
best receivers in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah. They followed Kupp and the Rams stopped scoring against Philly.
Yeah.
So blueprints out there.
Now, do
Got to have the talent to execute that blueprint.
Exactly. Do the Cardinals have the cover guys to do that? They do not. Now, one X factor I think in this game, if the Cardinals are going to have a real shot, is the offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. He's kind of been able to make it work thus far. Leaning on James Conner has been very productive for the first 5 weeks. Now Conner headed to IR with the injury suffered against Cincy. So, we're going to really see what kind of OC Coach Petzing is this week with the guys he's working with there.
Yeah. Jonathan Gannon, rightfully so, caught a lot of heat for the pews shots, vertical.
Explosives.
But man, they play hard every week.
They do.
But I think 1-4 starts to wear on any team, no matter the expectations before the season. This looks like a pretty good spot for LA, but we'll see.
McVay, and McVay's going to come up with something. He saw what happened last week when they took, when they took one of their weapons out of the game completely and it stalled the offense. That's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
He's one of the most creative guys out there. I expect them to fully figure that out. And again, I don't think the Cardinals have the personnel to do what happened last week.
And the Cardinals are without a weapon of their own in James Conner.
Yeah.
DeMercado played pretty well last week in his stead. Keontae Ingram could get the start as well. So a couple replacement pieces in Arizona who will have their hands full with the decent front, including one of the best to ever do it. All right, the pumpkin tier. And time of tape here. No further updates on C Long.
Check the old phone.
Yeah, we should also check the Greenlight IG feed from time to time.
Yeah. Not gotten anything direct. So in this case, I believe no news is good news.
Like this is
I say that with a question mark.
This is like the 1700s. Like I need to get a message to Frank, 2 colonies over.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little while.
Yeah. Yep. There was smoke in the air this morning. I did smell it,
Okay, the pumpkin tier. Giants at Bills. My beloved New York Giants, potentially quarterbacked by Tyrod Taylor, are going to be in Buffalo. Buffalo back from London where they lost to Jacksonville. Total's 44.5. Bills favored by 2 touchdowns. Buffalo without some pieces, but it's hard to see how the Giants offense, not unlike the Pats, who we'll talk about in a minute, can hang with a team like Buffalo and actually score points. On the other side, Wink will throw caution to the wind and just give it his best. But the Giants' offense is hard to watch at the moment. Maybe I stuck with Tyrod as long as I can. Maybe Tyrod. I grew up with Tyrod. We'll give him a shot in the arm. Who knows? Kyle Long
revenge
talked
game,
about
revenge game
there
for
you go.
Tyrod going.
Right. Yeah,
Kyle's
that's
talked about when the
Bill.
backup gets in there, the O-line gets on their P's and Q's, and
Yeah.
they're dialed in a little bit more. So
skill set. I mean, when you look at the things that the quarterback can do, Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, both can use their feet. You can't tell me much that's going to say that there's going to be a big drop off here at this point.
right,
No.
So it's looking up for you guys.
yeah. All week it's been, hey, you could have just franchised Daniel Jones, Joe Shane. You knew that, right? That you
Right.
could have just gotten another look at him one more year. Seems like it would have been a call, but hindsight's 2020, and Daniel's not self-sacking himself on
Yeah.
nearly every drop back. It's his offensive line and some very good defenses that have put DJ on the sideline. I think this is for the Giants. It's about covering the spread, probably not winning the football game.
The line is disrespectful. It's borderline disrespectful, especially with Dable also going back to Buffalo. You think that he wants, but he's down personnel at this point, so it's going to be tough for them to keep. And I think that Buffalo is.
I just want it to be Waller, 12 for 110
Yeah.
and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like there he is. That's what can be
Yep.
when Danny Dimes gets back. And Josh Allen. I mean, they're rookie corners in that Giants secondary.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs probably going to have a pretty big game.
Yep.
Panthers are at the Dolphins, talking about another 14-point spread. This one's just under at 13.5. Are you more confident in the Giants giving the Bills a game or the Panthers giving the Dolphins a game?
That's a tough one. That's like
You probably back Tyrod over Bryce Young at this point, yeah?
Yeah.
I
I
would.
think that's exactly where it is the nod to the veteran QB. And also, it's no slight to Bryce Young. He's been playing good ball. He's processing really well. He's doing everything you want the quarterback to do, but he's just in a really difficult situation. Offensive line struggling to protect, and then the receiver core, with your top guy being, an Adam Thielen in his dottage. So it's a tough spot for him, and it's a Miami defense that can really get after it as far as the pass rush goes.
This line looks low, to be honest, with the
Yeah.
way that their offense is rolling in with Miami home game. Achane, not A-Chain, is on the shelf, but it seems like they're going to plug in another guy with speed and do the thing. I mean, Mostert will get obviously more run here, but
And Jeff Wilson should
and
be
Jeff
back.
Wilson Jr. will
Yeah.
also seemingly be back.
Another
but-
Niner.
Yeah, right. Just following McDaniels into South Beach, but I think this is a really tough spot for the Carolina Panthers here. This has a blowout written all over it, and the run game, Carolina's run game also like getting booed. It's not.
Right.
This is not Philadelphia anymore for Miles Sanders. This is a different animal, and yeah, Adam Thielen, who's been playing well. I mean, give the guy credit.
Yeah.
He's one for the old guys.
Yeah.
But Mingo, I think they're looking for more out of, and that's going to take time for them to develop that chemistry. It's a tough spot for Bryce.
Chuba Hubbard getting as many snaps as
Yeah.
Miles Sanders at this point. Feels like one of those games is a cover by the dog. I just don't know which one. Patriots are at the Raiders. We talked about this a bit with Steve, but two below average teams. That's why we're in the pumpkin tier. And I said it with Steve. Tell me if you disagree. I think this is a classic spot where Belichick would ordinarily beat the guy who was his guy for so many years, but I just don't know how they score points. And then the defense will score points. Well, you don't have Judon, you don't have Gonzalez. They're two of their best defenders. This is just ugly. I don't know. I guess you can talk yourself into backing Vegas with a little bit of confidence and what looks like a fairly vanilla Jimmy G is handing off to Josh, or his first look might be Jacoby, while Devontae continues to get free releases on the outside, but not as many targets. I guess that was just 1 week. But Max Crosby looked great in prime time, but I also don't want to trust the Raiders.
No. Yeah, no, it's funny with where we tiered this game, because if our fearless leader was here stacking these, this is an aircraft carrier game.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody loves a rock fight more than C. Long.
One of his unders, yeah? Was this
Right.
one of his unders?
Yes, I think he did take this.
He went Ravens Titans under, Saints Texans under, Niners Browns under. Okay, so this
Okay.
wasn't, but I don't know how these teams
Well,
are getting
it's
to
a safe
41 and a
pick.
half.
A lot of familiarity on both sides of the ball too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to retroactively take Patriots Raiders under in our NFL locks.
When you're Bill Belichick looking across there, seeing the personnel on that team, and I was listening to Julian Edelman talk. I forget what podcast he was on, but he was talking about just the wide receiver core in general and how the talent is just, it's not there, and they've missed on certain picks. And when you're looking around the league at who's been there, and you see Jacoby Myers excelling, and he's been nothing but good.
Yeah.
Nothing but a rock, really, for that pass game, and a guy that's understated. Like, you don't hear about him much, but he's been really dependable. Going on the other side there, and competing for targets with Devontae Adams, it's a tough one.
One in a long line of very good NC State quarterbacks at Jacoby Myers.
There you go.
Right.
All right, that's the pumpkin tier. That's the whole slate, fellas. I'm sure people won't hesitate to tell us how that was a job poorly done. I think it's a job well done.
Well done.
At least from where I sit.
A lot of fun.
We don't have the ball knowledge or the charisma of a C Long, but we have a lot of heart.
A lot of heart.
And
A lot of grit.
and we left it all out there. All right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thanks to Steve. Godspeed to Chris. We hope we're hearing from him again shortly, maybe even in this show. But next week, hope to be sitting next to a world record holder after another good weekend of ball. Enjoy it. Y'all take care.